Bitches keep coming up short, fucking with too short. Too short.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? So today I wanted to review my push band as well as go over just a couple of my training things I've been going over from yesterday. So this is the profile view of what you're doing. So this basically gives you personal records, as you can see, for my deadlift in terms of how much work I did measured in watts. And then you can go scroll down a little bit and it'll show you under your activity how much work you've done on a daily basis in terms of what week you're on, or you can even go to a monthly basis and get a larger view of what you're doing. I haven't really gotten into this too much, and again, I'm you'll see later in this video I actually forget to hit the button sometimes, so that's something I need to start getting used to. But it's all good, all learning process. So next up we have train, which is where you go when you actually want to train. I just skip out of this real quick to go to exercises and then go back to train. So they have a pretty big exercise database, but it is limited. So now I'm back here at train. So when you want to train, you go to select exercise, select whatever exercise you want, or hit the search button, click on it. And here I'm just going to choose back squats. Then you pick your load by clicking on the numbers there. You can choose in your settings whether you want pounds or kilograms. I'm just putting in 225 here. And then you have on the push band, there's a button, or you can press the button on the actual phone, which is that red thing down there. And that'll bring you to that error screen because mine's not plugged in. Next up, we have your timeline, which I'll be going over a little bit later, which basically just shows you what you've done over a specific time frame. Then we have tests. You can do back squat 1 rep max test, and bench press 1 rep max test. They basically estimate it based off of your velocity. And then here's settings where you can just change some of the settings based on personal preference, etc. Your height, weight units, whether you want to use Wi-Fi, etc. Then help just goes over stuff if you need any help with it. So now let's go over your session summary. So this is my bench press from yesterday, and obviously there's my first set there. You can see it's clocked in me at 0.18 meters per second. And then my second set here, I got clocked at 0.22 meters per second, and it was 20 pounds heavier, so that was nice. It's a little bit harder to do the measurements with the pause work just because your velocity is going to be a lot slower, obviously, than with touch and go work. So after that, you can go and check your power. So obviously my second one had more power because it was more weight and it was faster. So I produced more work. So up next was my squat. So you can see that I got 0.45 meters per second on this 405 single. So very nice and easy. And then I worked up to a 455 single, which clocked in at 0.4 meters per second. So still really good speed on these. Again, I haven't tested what my 1 rep maxes are for squatting, deadlifting, and bench. It's going to be different numbers for each of them. So there's my work, and obviously it's going to be higher because I was moving more weight at a faster speed, so therefore more work. So this is free mode here. This is just going over some of my previous sessions. Here's where I hit my 345 double PR. So you can see under velocity, for my last set I hit both 0.23 meters per second on each rep, so very good. And then here's work. So the power, not so important for me. I'm really interested in the velocity, but it's still interesting to know. And here are my sumo deadlifts from a few days ago. As you can see, generally as the sets get heavier, my velocity goes down, which is what you would expect. But yeah, this was my 680 double, I believe, and unfortunately I didn't get it. So, excuse me. So here's another day of free mode. This was my narrow grip bench press, so I just wanted to go over this because it's touch and go. So you'll notice that the speed tends to be a lot faster. I mean, granted, the weight is a little bit lighter than my regular competition bench, but you can see that I'm mainly in the high 20s to early 30s until the end of my set when it gets a little bit harder and I drop. So this was my Sumo deadlifts, my 4 rep max. I wanted to show you the video of it and kind of match that with the velocity to see where it's at and how they look. So here is that set of 4. The weight here is 630. So first rep, 0.34 meters per second. Actually moved pretty good for my first rep. They're usually really slow. The second rep moved a little bit slower at 0.29. Seemed the lockout wasn't quite so good. I think this is the fastest rep here at 0.37 meters per second. That moved pretty well, and then it began to slow down again at the last rep, but you know, it wasn't super grind or anything. Felt really good. So there you can see my my velocities for all those, and then my velocities a little bit for my block deadlifts I did at the very end there. So yeah, had one super fast rep and the rest were all kind of normal and in the same range. So that's basically my push band as well as my last 2 days of training. So my overall review of the push band is quite positive. A couple of things I didn't cover were a couple of times it'll disconnect sometimes, and sometimes, you know, you'll be in the middle of a heavy set where you really want the data, and a couple times I've had it where the data was way off. For instance, one time I did a set of 4 and it said I only did 1 rep, so that was kind of annoying, but you know, it happens. That's what you get, I guess, with the Bluetooth technology. And then a couple of other things I'd like to see would be an increase in exercise selection, so either make new exercise or allow you to add custom exercises. The reason for this being, say I want to do you know, competition pause bench, they only have bench press. So if I'm doing competition bench one day and I'm doing touch and go bench the other day, I have to log them under the same exercise. So I won't have separate PRs for those, and for me they're different exercises. So that's one thing. And then, you know, a couple other deadlifting and squatting variations would be nice. They have a ton of other exercises on there, and obviously I'm using this mainly for powerlifting, so that's what I'm using for. And then other than that, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I haven't gone over specifically how I'm going to implement that in with my RTS training. So the way I'm going to be doing that is that I'm going to be making a chart that has basically start and stop velocities based on how many reps I've done. Like I was talking about a little bit earlier, if you're doing your bench versus your squat versus your deadlift, your 1 rep max is going to have different velocities. So based on some of the data and some of the articles I've read, generally speaking, your bench velocity is going to be lower than your squat velocity. I haven't really looked into the deadlift one very much, but I imagine based on the numbers I have that it's going to be the same thing. Bench will be lower than deadlift as well. With the deadlift, I've noticed on both my sets that the very first rep is always slow, and that kind of mirrors generally what you would expect because you have no stretch reflex on that first rep. So during deadlifts, you're always going to be slow off the first, and then it begins, for me at least, to speed back up, and then once you start fatiguing again, it'll slow back down. On top of that, same with pause bench, I noticed the numbers get they're a little bit strange, whereas, you know, in touch and go bench and squat, you know, you start off, it'll be fast and then it'll slow down, whereas with the touch and go bench press, you know, your first rep might be your fastest, your last rep might be your fastest, or whatever. And that also has to do with me, the fact that I'm not really used to accelerating through all my lifts. So anyways, what I will end up doing after my meet is doing my 1 rep max eventually in the squat, bench, and deadlift, and get the data to see how slow that really is, and that way I can kind of pair that up with another chart using RPE. So basically, if I know that I want to hit an RPE 9, I'll know that my speed for 1 rep left will be this speed. So if I get underneath that speed, then I know that I've probably gone over an RPE 9, for example. So I'll try and make more sense of that once I get to actually doing that, getting all that data and inputting it. But yeah, so for now, really liking the push. I didn't even really go over the push assist because I don't plan on using it, but the push assist basically will recommend you to stick in a specific velocity range. So say they have things like training for strength, endurance, speed. I think they have it for hypertrophy, power. So basically all of these training variables or training goals that you want to achieve. Say on one day you want to have a power workout, and then another day you want to buy hypertrophy, another day you want to have strength. So they basically have matched those qualities with a given velocity. So you can put in whatever quality you want, and then push assist will basically tell you, you know, based on your velocities, you should increase the weight, or you should decrease the weight, or increase the reps, or decrease the reps. So that can be really interesting if, you know, you want to take a completely velocity-based training route and just have it calculate for you. But right now, I'm not really interested in that. So yeah, that's my review of the push band. Really liking it for the price. It's really good. I don't know about how accurate it is compared to some of the super expensive things like you know, the original Nintendo unit, which I think the first one was like 20 grand, and now you can get them for something like $1,600. But from what I've seen, they look really good, but there's a lot of crazy metrics on there, and kind of a lot of metrics that wouldn't matter for a lot of people, or for people like me. Like, I'm not in a research setting, so, you know, velocity is something I really want. I'd really like to see force, but, you know, it's not on there. It is what it is. I'm perfectly happy with just the velocity. So once I get my velocity and RPE based charts kind of synced up, then I will be using both RPE as well as velocity to gauge my training. So yeah, that's my review of the push band. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to comment. Let's get back to you, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Peace.